Chili from Philly. Nick Papagiorgio from Yuma.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to another episode of What's Up, Yuma Radio. I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Victor Calderon. And Johnny, it's good to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Obviously, today's the final show broadcasting from here at the Border Radio.
Border Radio?
Yeah, in the studio. But it's been a good time, and we'll kind of wrap things up at the end.
Yes, we'll have some kind words in our last segment. So as they say in media, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Absolutely. So real quick, Mexico plays tonight. I know. Are you going to watch that?
Yes. So again, that's good for local, bar owners and restaurants that are showing the games. We mentioned our friends yesterday from Costa Baja.
Yeah.
Take your pick. But two big games. Mexico tonight. USA tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So it's a good time to go to a sports bar, support your local business.
Yeah, support them and your team. And it's one and done. Like if you're out, if you lose, you're out, right?
Right. Yeah. So yesterday were some good results. Paraguay beat Germany. And so Germany is usually good. And then what were the other games? Brazil won in like the last minute against Japan.
Whoa, okay.
And then Netherlands lost to Morocco.
All right. So there may be
some upsets.
That sounds like upsets. I know Maiko, she was going for Japan. She's half Japanese. She's born over there. But she's going to be upset today, so my heart goes out to her. But who do we have today, Victor?
We have Derek Egeberg. He is a writing candidate for Yuma City Council. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Good morning. And like we like to do on the show, we like to get to know our guests before we figure out why they're crazy enough to run for city council, right? We're going to get to that. But you said off air you were born in Flagstaff, I guess.
Born in Flagstaff, raised in Scottsdale until I was 9, and family moved here when I was 9. So this is truly home. This is what, 43 years? Mm-hmm. So 44 years. This is the only place that I really have memories of is Yuma.
Yeah. Okay. So your memories of Yuma and 9 years old, were you into numbers? Was it like something like you always wanted to do? You were going to like looking at homes and be like, I want to help people get those.
No, at 9 years old, I wanted to be a train engineer. I wanted to run up and down the country all over the place, pulling the handle, honking the horn. So had no concept of mortgages at 9.
Yeah, none, of course, right? But then what about in high school? What was it like in high school?
Believe it or not, I in high school, I did a lot of drama, theater productions, tennis, baseball, those types of things. So I was both on sports and in theatrics.
So you were a jock, and then you were the ones that the jocks maybe would have picked on
and made fun.
Wow.
Had a ton of fun in Snyder Auditorium. Was actually my senior year and freshman, sophomore of college was on KAWC out here with Bob Hardy.
Oh, Uncle Bob, yeah.
Uncle Bob, because he would pound into you. You can't say it as KAWC. It's got to be KAWC and enunciate. So a lot of stuff like that. Great memories.
So you said theater and production. I had no idea. Now, like, tell me a little bit about that. You like to act, or is more the production side of things?
Started on the acting side, did 4 or 5 of the shows, but then most of it became production. So the lighting, the technical, the theater productions. Over the years, probably did 150 shows with theater and lighting, especially when outside groups would come in. Had great fun doing Ricky Skaggs, the Side Street Strutters. Actually almost went on tour with Ricky Skaggs one time.
Oh, wow.
In their crew, but they called me up like 2 weeks before we were supposed to go and go, Derek, we got some bad news. We bought a theater in Branson, Missouri, so we don't need a road crew anymore. I'm like, oh gosh,
dang, there was your shot.
That was it. So.
Yeah. So in high school, then what'd you want to do career wise? What was the I'm going to go college, university. What was it that you wanted to do?
I started thinking I was going to go into psychology. And then I realized there's just too many problems.
Okay, that's interesting. There is a lot of problems. But tell me a little bit about the psychology, though. Why?
So, again, everybody used to come to me, and it's funny when you say it, but everybody used to come to me and give me their problems and talk about it. And the more I listened, I couldn't stomach some of it. But now, in retrospect, most of them were money problems. It was, I don't know how to do this. I can't figure this out. So didn't go for psychology, went for business, got my business degree, and then was working restaurants all the way from high school at age 15 on up. I mean, did field work at age 14, the old spraying fields and throwing watermelons here in Yuma.
Oh, wow.
But at age 15, then 3/4, got on with Peter Piper Pizza and was there for 17 years.
15 years old,
15
right?
and 3/4.
15 and 3/4.
with the
Okay.
law.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Nobody's going to come after Peter Piper for breaking any laws, but you clarified. So you're of age to work. Why did you get a job so early?
I wanted a car.
Wanted a car.
And again, because I was doing so many things in the theater, you were at Snyder Auditorium sometimes till 1 in the evening, and needed to be that kid who had a car. So, my dad helped me get a 1981 Honda Civic wagon. It was the 4-door wagon. It was one of the most it's your first car.
It's your first car. So nothing stylish that you're pulling up for the ladies, and the ladies are like, "Whoa, look at Derek."
No. That was the only good thing is you could cram like 9 people in it and get to lunch somewhere when the campuses were open.
So people, obviously, then you made friends, though.
Yeah.
Friends were there. It could open campus. You could go over there to Mr. G's or hop in.
Oh, we could get all the way across town to Peter Piper.
Yeah, you could go out of to Peter Piper. So it was because you had a need. There was a need there saying, I want to get this. Now, after, at Peter Piper, you said off air that you worked all the way from the bottom to the top. So tell me about that journey.
Again, 17 years, you just kind of got to the point that I can do this, get out of the way, and I would just take on the next responsibility. And ultimately, the owner and his wife stepped out, and I just started running it by age 18. And went to college, and I was unfortunately on the 10-year plan. It took me a long time to get through college because every time as the general manager, you let somebody go, then you got to cover their shifts. So it took me a little longer to get through things that I wanted, but was running it, trying to buy the restaurant. He wanted X.
So 18, though. 18, okay, let's go back to that. 18, you're going to school. You're saying, get out of the way. They finally get out of the way. You're doing this. And how do you stay focused with all of that?
I wanted to be the #1 store in the company.
Gotcha.
So we took it from $500,000 a year in sales to in excess of $2 million a year in sales. And you think, back then on a $9 pizza, that's
pretty good.
Something.
You're moving some pizzas.
So, there were days that we were doing 1.5 tons of dough a day.
Yeah. I wanted to say 17 years. That's a lot of pizza.
Yeah, trust me, I've done the numbers before.
Yeah.
So 17 years, and then when I got into mortgages, a really good friend of mine said, long story short, I did what everybody does. I went to my local checking savings bank, tried to get pre-qualified. 90 days later, nobody can tell me what's going on. Couldn't find a loan officer.
Is this when you're trying to buy it?
When I was buying my house.
Your house, okay.
So I was managing the restaurant, going to school, trying to buy a house. 3 months later, couldn't get anybody to answer questions. And a good friend of mine, I thought he was a loan shark. I didn't really know what he did. And I'm like, look, I need some help. And about 10 days later, he had my FHA loan closed. Cool. Year and a half, I went back to him. I'm like, hey, I want to refinance it. I want to do it to a 15-year loan. I'm going to save all this money. And he goes, why aren't you doing this? Because you actually are asking better questions than I know to ask. Why aren't you doing mortgages? I'm like, I don't know.
And you're still at Peter Piper.
Yeah. Nobody's ever asked me. So he goes, come in tomorrow, sit behind me on a green milk crate, and just learn the business. And so for 4.5 years, I was doing Peter Piper for 55 hours a week and mortgages for 40. I was doing 95 hours a week for 4.5 years straight.
Wow.
And I still have the waffle pattern on my butt from the green milk crate.
Yeah. So, okay, like you're doing this. How do you find time to be social, or that just kind of you throw it out the door and like, you know what, I'm dedicated?
A lot of it was out the door. A lot of it was we were blessed that's when we had our kids. So my 2 jobs became the income to offset her loss of income because we went back to back to back, 3 kids. So she didn't work for 5 years. And so that very much became a process to make me who I am now.
Yeah. So then, okay. So you're doing all of this, and then at some point you approach them and say, I want to buy this location. And you're talking about the one on Pacific over there? Because I think that's the only one here.
So it was a franchise, and the owner, Bob and Diane Ulm, had owned it forever. That's who I worked for the entire time. And he wanted X. The appraisal was worth Y, and we just couldn't come to an agreement of the space in between. And that was kind of the decision to stop working 95 hours a week and solely commit myself to mortgages, which I've now done for 25 years.
Now, did it upset you that he didn't find that place to be able to do that? Was that something that you look back on and you're kind of still, some feelings around? Or was it, I'm glad that happened because it prompted me to go in this direction?
I think everything happens for the right reasons. And there was a point at which I would have needed to take my income from mortgage to offset that business as COVID happened and things went downhill and you couldn't have people going out, because clearly Peter Piper is a destination place. It's not a delivery place. So I really believe that was a blessing, because had I gotten it, there would have been some other financial issues. He sold it back to corporate Peter Piper. So the franchise is no longer, it's now a corporate store. And like I say, I think all things happen for a reason.
So then when did you start, and what was the first mortgage place? Your first business?
So again,
Academy?
No. I was with Nova a long time ago.
You were at Nova.
And that's, was there for a while, then moved to another place, then came over to Academy. And really where I learned to be a great loan officer was Academy Mortgage. That was a 14-year run before they sold out nationwide. And again, Academy, and I love Adam and his family. They were great to me, and became one of the top 100 in the country, was 40 under 40, one of the 40 most influential people under 40 when I was there across the country with mortgages, top 1% again nationally. So really got to know people nationwide because of Academy Mortgage and what we've done.
And then now you're, what's the Mortgage One? Is that your own thing, or is that another branch?
It is another branch of a much smaller company. It feels a lot like Academy Mortgage did way back in the day. Okay. I report directly to an owner, not 7 layers of management. And it's a very family friendly, let's help people locally in underserved communities.
Okay, so you have this. Then when do you find time, or what was the precipice of saying, you know what, I'm going to run for city council? I love how they're treated here, so I want to be treated like that.
It was, and I've thought about politics for 6 or 7 years, but what really happened is I was like, man, I wish somebody would do something about that. And then I realized I am somebody. Why am I expecting somebody else to do something that I'm not doing? So give me the ball. Let me run it. Let me throw it. I'll take on that responsibility, because if I'm willing to complain, let me be the one who's going to fix it, not just expect Victor to go, you go do something, and I'll just sit back and armchair quarterback it.
What now, are those issues, some of the stuff that you saw, is it like relevant to the mortgage world, the housing world, or is it just like, this is my community?
It's the community.
Okay. So tell me a little bit, get a little bit deeper in that.
It is, and like we talked about off air, I'm passionate for things, but I'm very non-emotional. I'm probably one of the least empathetic people you're going to meet, which most of the time is probably not a good thing.
Well, and then
my wife would say it's not a good thing.
Well, and then that's something like typically somebody wouldn't admit, right? They would, it's like, I'm not empathetic, but
I have to be, because my job is to be pragmatic about decisions of putting a square peg in a round hole. And I think that's what we need more of in city council is, look, I'm very passionate for this city. I hope you can hear that. But when it comes to the decision, it's not an emotional decision. It's 1 + 1 + 1 has to equal 3. And if it equals 2 or 4, something's wrong. Let's figure out what this is. And I don't care what the issue is. There's a path and a number that's going to get me there.
Okay, so then what were some of the issues maybe that you kind of saw, not that somebody was doing something wrong, because I don't like to play the blame game here, but maybe something that you could lend your expertise to, or maybe something that you could maybe shift in a better direction?
Mostly it's budgeting and planning. And again, I think we've done some amazing things in the community, but the emotions that surround certain decisions are what we need to take out of it. If you look at police and fire, if I said, is there a need for another fire station? Yeah, we're already one short.
Yeah.
If I say, is there a need for a police station out in the foothills? The time of service from the city of Yuma proper out there is not good. If you remember when College Park was first built, the fire station in College Park, these homes right here, was a home that they took out a big fence and they parked the fire truck in the backyard because there was not a fire station out here. Now, what most people don't realize is the police and fire department have done amazing things for you and I as homeowners, because they now have the rating that is going to allow potentially our homeowners insurance to go down because
wow,
of their
interesting.
work. But if we don't stay ahead with police and fire response times, we lose it. So those decisions, when you hear people arguing about capital improvement products and projects and stuff like that, we have to be very careful that we're investing money in the right way for the right reasons that sometimes maybe are less visible than some of the emotional products that people are putting out there that need to be done.
Yeah, but you know, people typically, and you know this, they make decisions on emotion. And you're saying like, I'm a facts and figures guy. So how do you run a campaign like that?
It is literally saying, look, I'm very passionate for this city, but I'm not emotional. I'm very pragmatic. So my business, when I look at people's bank statements, I'm never going to be judgy about what they spend on. But one of my really good friends, he would go to Starbucks 3 times a day.
And that was
it's
the first,
not you. And
no,
it's not you.
No, it's not me. But that was the first story you told me when I went over for a loan about you just said, I'm going to look through this. I'm going to look at, and there might be some Starbucks in there. And there was, but go ahead.
And it's literally that, hey, I can't save money, but if you can go to the coffee shop 3 times a day, 5 days a week, you clearly can save money. Your emotion is taking you to the coffee shop, but you could brew it at home with a pot. I do.
Yeah, and then you even brought that up with your water bottle that you brought in today that
Filled up at home.
has a brand name on it. We won't mention it, but you filled it up at home.
Yep. Because again, look, I know some of the things we do make us feel good, but the job of city council is not to make people feel good. It's to make common sense, logical decisions for us and for the future. I want my kids and my grandkids to build their careers here, start families here, and I want Yuma to give everybody the same opportunities I've had.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a couple minutes left. I just want to ask you, you're a write-in candidate. Why should people write you in for city council?
Partly for that is I'm the guy who's not in anybody's pocket. I'm pragmatic about my decisions, and you can get to me. And I've had a lot of people say, how do I get a hold of you? Literally, my phone number's been on the internet for 25 years straight. You can look up my name, you find my cell number, and the same as at the candidate forum. I had 2 people ask me questions. Okay, I don't know the answer to your specific problem, and it's super important to you. I will go find that information out, and I've left messages for both of those gentlemen, and here's what I found out. I have no problem doing that because I'd like to know also. One of them was a zoning question. Really, both of them had the flavor of a zoning issue. But call me, ask me. There's no question you're going to ask that's going to be hurtful to me, but it's going to be, I'm going to come up with the data, and I will answer you back.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to mention? You mentioned the candidate forum. You know, the answers had to be short, but and we are short on time, wrapping up on time. But anything else you wanted to mention?
You know, I'm a write-in candidate. I need everybody to check the blank box and write Derek Egeberg in there, and I would appreciate your vote. And if you have any questions of me of who I am, please find my cell number and give me a call.
And I'll just say, it was a candidate forum. I was meeting with Bobby McClendon, Leslie's husband, who's on council. And thank you, Bobby, for letting me use your lights. I really appreciate Bobby. Love him. Longtime DJ. But anyway, I was talking to him about this, and he had mentioned your name just in conversation. And he said that he was very impressed that when you were asked a question and you didn't know the answer, you didn't try to make one up or try to sound smart. You said, let me go find out and I'll come back. Right, I'll get back to you, and maybe that's like the same thing that happened with like the gentleman that said, "Okay, find these out for me." You got their numbers and you responded, but he said that sealed the deal for him.
Well, I appreciate that, Bobby. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Victor.
All right, thank you so much for being with us. Good luck on the campaign trail, and we will be seeing. You know, when's voting day, or no, when's election night?
Mail-in ballots are already out. Please get your mail-in ballot. July 21st is the actual ballot day, election day. So, vote Derek Egeberg, write-in candidate.
Chili from Philly. Nick Papa Giorgio from Yuma.